Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien. On Sunday, February 26, 2023, sitting in for Paul Harvey this morning, stand by for special commentary. Well, Mr. Harvey did this commentary in 1973, and I don't think that 1 in 100,000 of you Americans ever listened to this, or 1 in 100 million. I doubt it. But anyway, in his commentary, he started that in saying that reverends, priests, and evangelists all have this one thing, that they know they're going to have a full house when they do this sermon. Sin. And yeah, when I was a kid, when the priest would start out with tell you that the Sunday message was going to be on sin, you had a full house. When he did any other sermon, you had maybe a third, if you're lucky, and a quarter of the way through that sermon, boy, you ever heard a sermon with a lot of... I can tell you I have, and I come from a Catholic background. Father Thomas, boy, he would look at me and I would look at him and just shrug my shoulders like, I'm sorry, Father, but you picked it. Yeah. And one sermon that he picked, and I was about 10, so it's got to be about 1969. It was a Sunday. Palm Sunday, too. 1969. I believe it was Palm Sunday. And he went out there, and I went with my grandmother. My grandmother was the most devout Catholic you can ever imagine. I mean, you miss a Sunday, you better be sick, boy. Yeah, and I got also, how would you say, hoodwinked into being the altar boy, so I had to be there before her and get everything there. She didn't like that I didn't take confessional, but like I told her, like I told Father Thomas, I said, Grandma, I told Father Thomas that in confessional you need to have 3 Hail Marys. And since you don't have 3 Marys around here, I can't hail them, so I can't go to confessional. Oh, and Father Thomas, I almost came close yesterday here at Grand Villa because if you're up there with the boss, there was 2 Marys at the desk when I went down there for a special question. I needed a third one, then I could hail them and say, oh, Hail Marys! And then I would tell you, Father Thomas, I'm ready for my confessional, and I would have gone to the local priest here, because they got one here at Grand Villa. But back to Paul Harvey. That one sermon that Father Thomas did, that it was just my grandmother in there, and me being the altar boy along with my friend Dionys. Yeah. One person in church for hard work. Oh, boy, does that tell you. And you Americans over here, whether you're Protestants, Muslims, or Christians, Catholic, I mean, yeah, you know that if you go to a sermon like hard work, you're not going to show up. Because that's a demeaning subject. No, we don't want to do anything like that. We are here. We deserve what we want. We don't need the hard work for it. Those are grandfather days. Yeah. And that's about the way Paul Harvey put it. And like he said, no politician would touch that, and they wouldn't even listen to him. And he told them when he did this commentary in 1973, I'm taking a chance. I'm going to try this and see how many people listen to me. And according to CBS at the time, I don't think that many people listened to that broadcast in 1973, or they changed the channel as soon as he said, hard work. Yeah, poor Paul. Oh, boy. And I know you guys are going to put this in file 13, so hey, boss up there, you got Mr. Harvey, you tell him that I'm trying it today on February 26, 2023, and I'll probably get this down on file 13. But anyway, here it goes. Like Paul Harvey told you, everything that you have accomplished up until the end of World War II to become a superpower, you did through hard work and sweat and bloods. Like the farmers, and he took them for an example. They had to fight to get there. They had to fight Indians. They had to fight the weather. They had to fight each other. And they had to fight the other people in towns who called them sunbusters. Poor guys. Yeah. Okay. But if it wasn't for them, and it's not like you guys say in school, oh, well, and when I went to school, that's what my teacher told me in social studies on my 7th grade. You're now in junior high school. And up in the States, and when I came out to the States, I visited my brother's social studies class because I was out of class that time, and it was June, and you guys still had class up here. We ended up in May in those days, down in the Panama Canal Zone. And this teacher was telling him, oh, well, you know, we became a superpower because we became the best farming country in the world, and we turned out food and we could feed the world because we conquered the wilderness. And I told her, ma'am, that's exactly what my teacher in Balboa or Corundu Junior High School at the time told me that you guys would say up here. And that is not true. And boy, did she want to throw me out of that classroom. She said, you are here because individual sunbusters, as you call them, and you use that term disrespectful of farmers here, talking to your students. That's, to me, putting discrimination and racism here. Okay? Sunbusters. Boy, that's a derogatory term to refer to a farmer. And they had said the reason they had to put blood, sweat, and tears. And referring to Paul Harvey back in 73, which was about a couple years before this, I told her, according to Paul Harvey, your American pioneers, and most of them were sunbusters, had blood, sweat, and tears. And the sweat was not the perspiring kind. It was the kind that you had to, every time you picked an axe, you picked a mallet, or you put yourself in the back of a horse with a plow in front of you, and you had to watch out for the horse's back end because something came out of it all the time. Might hit you. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, but you had to get those fields plowed, and you had to worry about, just like you did when you got there, weather, Indians, other people like you, meaning sodbusters, and ranchers. Oh yeah. Don't worry about the government, they'll come later, but yeah. But those ranchers, boy, they wanted you sodbusters out of there. You're ruining the land, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the hard work that they did, each time they plowed that land and put the sweat in the soil, and it created a path for somebody that came after them. And I don't mean the people that kept the farm and the family decades and decades. Some of them were 200 years. or so that they had to farm until the government came in with eminent domain. We gotta read. I-95 is coming through here, yo. Yeah. Or conglomerates that form dairies or farms. We're gonna, like Del Monte and Hunt's tomato sauce. Yeah, So they would buy your farm out for pennies on the dollar. They're the ones that are destroying the American way, because today you talk about hard work, and not a single American want to hear it, because hey, we deserve this and we deserve that. Really? Those guys who blazed the trail and put the things up there that you wanted before the so-called Carnegies and Vanderbilts and Edisons and Fords, before those guys. These guys planted a seed, built a town, whatever they did, with nothing in return. And then about a decade later, after that town was prospering, you had the guys that came in, let's bleed it blood here, and we'll take whatever we can off this lemon. Yeah. So you see, the blood, sweat, and tears that were put into the soil were never returned, because the people that came after were in it for their benefit. And they just followed that trail, but they never blazed one of their own to keep the thing going. So therefore, as Paul Harvey put it, your society started to dry out just like the Dust Bowls in the 30s. Dried out. And the soil left. And civilizations have dried out and extinguished themselves, and you're next, because of the way you think. Today you say, hard work, I deserve this and I deserve that. Let's go to see Morgan and Dan Rowland. And you forget that the blazing that your great-great-great-great-grandfather put out there, and his son and grandson after him, went right through that same trail and a little further than he did, or turned right to place a new trail, but nobody followed him, and the blood, sweats, and tears that he put down in that soil became so dried out that now all you have is dried out sand when you pick up the soil. That's the metaphor for the civilization, a dried out, hollow husk of a thing that used to be there. That's what you're getting to be, Americans. Whether you like it or not, look at yourselves. Sitting in for Paul Harvey, and I hope I did a good this time, Mr. Harvey, but I doubt if anybody of these sunbusters today that say that I don't want to work, I deserve to have money without working, When you're down and out and physically cannot work, that's when you're supposed to be helped. But when you're young and physically can put your blood, sweat, and tears out there, blaze a trail for people that come after you, and they should be able to take care of you. But you don't have that mentality. See, Mr. Harvey, they never developed the mentality that you said in 1973. So hard work is still not being followed, Mr. Harvey. Sitting in for you, this is your favorite alien. Good day.